Healthcare, a great choice for you. Call me today, Michael Deniston, 850-271-4389. That's 850-271-4389, so you can decide on a plan with confidence. That's 850-271-4389. Michael Deniston. Thank you.
United Healthcare Insurance Company or an affiliate pays royalty fees to AARP. AARP is not an insurer and does not employ or endorse agents, producers, or brokers. AARP encourages you to consider your needs when selecting products and does not make product recommendations for individuals.
If it's Western wear for the whole family you're looking for, there's only one place to shop, that boot store. The selections are huge and many of your favorite name brands at affordable prices are available. Want the finest in work clothes? Famous Carhartt work clothes are available too. Open Tuesday through Thursday, 9 till 5, and Friday and Saturday, 9 a.m. till 5:30. Next to Kia 15th Street, Panama City. Remember what Joe always said, keep Jesus in your life every day.
Did you know that fees associated with real estate closings are virtually the same from one title company to the next? So what sets South Oak Title apart? Effective communication, customer service, expertise, and technology. If you're buying or selling real estate, refinancing a residential or commercial property, tell your realtor you want to close with South Oak Title. South Oak Title, with locations across the Southeast, including Panama City Beach, Inlet Beach, Destin, and Fort Walton Beach. Visit them online at southoaktitle.com.
Have you heard about Lashing and Aesthetics by Natalie Mills? They use only professional quality products for all your lash extensions and customized skincare facial needs. Gentle tints for brows and lashes, along with brow laminations, lash lifts, and custom mapping for precise brow waxing. Lashing and Aesthetics by Natalie Mills also does classic lash extensions, hybrid lash extensions, volume lash extensions, lash lifts, and more. For more information, visit them at 1532 Jenks Avenue. Lashing and Aesthetics by Natalie Mills.
WGSX Lynn Haven, WTOT, W271DM Mariana, WVLQ Port St. Joe.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
It's the next evolution of sports talk radio. The biggest stories and the biggest reactions.
Now.
And now we're taking
with the first pick.
This is the last ball you gotta bet. The Inside Drive. From college to the pros. Interviews with the newsmakers, sports betting, your phone calls, and more. And now, The Inside Drive with Ryan Mulvey. Broadcasting from the Bill Kramer Chevrolet Buick GMC and Kramer Marine Outdoor Studios on ESPN Northwest Florida.
And good morning. You're listening to the Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida, sitting inside the Bill Kramer Chevrolet Buick GMC and Kramer Marine and Outdoor Studios. It's Thursday, so it is Kramer Day. But as you can see, I have all my friends sitting here. If you're watching on Facebook or YouTube or Twitch, I've got all my friends sitting in here with me in studio. So I'll kind of BS here for a little while until we get Jay and Mr. Chris Kramer himself in studio. But no, it's a great Thursday. There is a little bit of a chance of rain, but so far so good, and we still got people out there playing golf, and I know everybody's excited about the big Gulf Coast Jam that starts tonight, running through Sunday. So I know everybody's trying to find tickets and all that stuff. I think Coach Hale was giving away a couple this morning, if I'm not mistaken. I thought about calling in, but I don't think I'm eligible for that. So
I don't think so, my friend. I don't think so.
That's quite all right. But as I mentioned, we are sitting inside the Bill Kramer Chevrolet Buick GMC and Kramer Marine and Outdoor Studios. You can find them at 2251 West 23rd Street, right there as you're heading east. You cannot miss them. You can give the dealership a call at 850-250-1403 or give Kramer Marine and Outdoor a call at 850-851-0453. I know when Chris gets in, he can talk about some of the new stuff that they've got going on, and I know those trade values are still very, very high on used cars. So if you're looking to get a new car and your used car may be in good shape, or one of those cars that's a hot commodity, go reach out to the dealership and see how much they'll offer you. You never know how much you might be able to get for that used car. Also, visit Kramer Marine and Outdoor. They are a Yamaha outboard full-line dealer, as well as have Yamaha Master Certified mechanics on staff. Don't forget, they also have Suzuki motors as well. You can visit their new and used boat inventory at KramerMarineandOutdoor.com. And then, of course, don't forget about Bay Point Golf Club. We got a lot of cool stuff coming up this month. We'll talk about the Billfish Tournament here in just a minute. But we just finished our big Memorial Day weekend sale. We appreciate everybody who came out and supported that unbelievable sale with so many golf polos. So much stuff has been purchased, and they got free rounds of golf when they did it. We were so excited about that. We got Father's Day coming up 3 weeks from this Sunday, which is pretty crazy to believe how quickly Father's Day is coming. Well, Mother's Day is not as big of a golf weekend for us. Father's Day certainly is, as we have a lot of dads that are out there playing golf. But we're going to do that same sale probably that whole week leading up to Father's Day. We'll do it again. You spend $200 in the golf shop, you get a free round of golf. Obviously, over Memorial Day weekend, it was cool for all the guests that were in town. But this one, for guests in town, of course, as well, even if you're not celebrating Father's Day and you just want some great swag and a free round. But you can buy Dad a bunch of cool merchandise. Socks. We do have socks in there. We used to have some cool collegiate socks. Michigan Eddie was the only one that bought the Michigan ones. But yeah, you can buy the gift can be the round of golf, or it could be the $200 worth of merchandise, or it could be both, or you could go ahead and give it, keep the round of golf for yourself, or keep the merchandise to yourself and give the round of golf as a gift.
There you go. Bay Point, doing it big for dads. I love it.
That's right. It's hard to believe we're 3 weeks out from Father's Day, which means you're getting closer and closer to that Billfish tournament as well. We are going to kickstart and get our Friday breakfast going again. We've just been doing Saturday, Sunday breakfast, but now that we're hitting summertime and it is a lot lighter earlier, we've got that breakfast will be starting next Friday, and then we'll keep that going throughout the summer. Well, we'll have breakfast starting at 7 a.m. 8 a.m. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. If you haven't had our breakfast out there, it is fantastic. The prices are great. And of course, we do our live music brunches. I think our next one's coming up on like June, whatever the Sunday after Father's Day is. That's going to be June 25th will be our next Sunday brunch. And that's going to lead us right into the Billfish tournament, which will be awesome. Also, we've got 2 great Thursday night dinners this week. That is reservation only, first come, first serve. We've got our Asian night coming up on the 15th, that Thursday. And then also we have our world famous prime rib night coming up on the 22nd. So 2 awesome dinner opportunities. And again, you do not have to be a member or live at Bay Point Golf Club to enjoy our dinners, our breakfast, our lunch, whatever it may be. We are open to the public. Of course, if you are a member. Chris, how are you this morning? Jay has
good. How are you?
Good. Waiting for Jay, but it's been kind of that week. He's got that junior camp going on each day this week, so he'll be with us here in just a moment. But yeah, come out and have a great meal with us out at Bay Point Golf Club. The culinary team there does a wonderful job. Also got to give a shout out to my wife Beth and her company Beach House Sales and Development. Had an awesome May this past. Her agents have been busy getting stuff done. They had 5 closings yesterday. So great way to round out May for Beach House Sales and Development. If you're looking for any real estate needs, land, commercial, residential, give them a call. They can take care of you. And of course, you can visit South Oak Title and Closing after you get that real estate deal lined up. You got to have a place to close it. And pretty much all title companies, the fees are virtually the same, but you want to go where the people are going to take care of you the best. They got the best technology. Their offices are all state-of-the-art and just absolutely beautiful. But we're excited to have Chris Kramer in studio. I wasn't here last Thursday, so appreciate, again, Max Delighted filling in, but we didn't have a Kramer Day last week, so we're excited to have you back in the studio. Chris, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. How are you? Just fresh off a Gator National Championship.
I was gonna do a bet on how long it was gonna take for you to mention that.
Split second.
Yeah, you came in bringing it hot. Fifth national championship in golf program history. Did you get a chance to watch a lot of it yesterday?
About half of it. Cool. It's nice that it was out in Arizona, so you could pick it up late.
Yeah.
Gosh, I don't think it ended till 8:30.
It was the last the semifinal matches went till about that late too, and then last night as well. Kind of similar between how they took care of business with Florida State, and then they kind of came in against Georgia Tech, and were in that same similar position. But man, they were able to close really strong and win that 5th national championship.
There was a lot of drama.
A lot of drama.
Florida didn't just take it and pull away. They was up and down and tied matches, and that match play style is.
I love match play.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, and you saw.
I might even be able to compete in that.
Yeah, and that's what Jay was asking a question about match play the other day. He's like, what would you rather play, stroke play or match play? And I'm like, match play all day, especially with how little golf I play now. Match play, you can, have a huge blow-up hole, but you're only down 1 in that match. And I think it definitely levels the playing field a little bit. But Florida, definitely, I watched a lot of that Florida State match and the Florida match, as, Trey Jones is a good friend. So not that we weren't pulling for the Gators, but definitely kind of watch Florida State give that away a little bit there at the end. Just shows you you just got to keep fighting. And there's so much momentum in match play, as is any sport. Momentum really seems to have a big factor. And Ricky Castillo for the Florida Gators pretty much got them into that championship match on the heels of his good play coming in on the semifinals. That 18th hole out there at Grayhawk, just a brutal golf hole, 520 yards, thick rough on the right and left. You got a bunker on the right side, a bunker on the left side, and then you're hitting to a peninsula green. Just crazy that that's your finishing hole, and how well those guys, not all matches get to that 18th hole, but the ones that did, those guys certainly handled the pressure really well. And to see Ricky, come back from being 2 down with 3 to go, wins the 16th and the 17th right after Brett Roberts had birdied the 15th hole to go up by 2. And then Ricky comes back, ties it up, goes into 3 extra holes, and then drains that putt on number 10 the second time they played number 10 in the extra holes. You just kind of felt the momentum switch a little bit. And because at one point in the semifinals, Florida State was up by, they had won 2 matches already, so 2 points on the board. All they needed was 1 more, and then there was 3 matches still on the golf course. And at that time, Florida was down 2 in 1 match and tied in the other 2 matches, and ended up winning the 2 matches that were tied. And Ricky came back and won that semifinal match to take him to the championship match against Georgia Tech yesterday, which again, was kind of back and forth. Florida got out to a hot start, which is important in match play, but they ended up winning 3 out of the 4 first matches, and the 1 match that Georgia Tech did win, Ben Forrester went to 20 holes to win that match. And of course that final match didn't matter when Ricky was 1 up through 17. So ended up winning the Lynn versus Lampret match 4-3. Like I just mentioned, Forrester from Georgia Tech beat Michael Kress in 20 holes, and then Dubois was 1 up over Howe, and that was a really good match. And then we're excited to talk to your brother-in-law Mike Berger at the top of the hour. As you had mentioned, he had worked with Biondi, who won the individual golf national championship, and then won his match yesterday to seal that national championship.
That's going to be a great story. Mike and I were on the phone a little bit earlier talking about his relationship with Fred, and that's a cool backstory.
Yeah,
I mean, he's from Brazil.
That's awesome.
Biondi is. So, he came over. Anyways, I won't get into what to say about Mike.
Yeah.
It's a good
Definitely.
It's
I cannot wait to hear that. That'll be at the top of the hour. We'll be joined by Mike Berger, as you caddied for him in the PGA Professional Championship not that long ago, about a month ago.
Yep.
So I would love to ask him some questions about that as well, but I can't wait to hear about that story. Obviously, Biondi is finished the season on the PGA Tour U rankings number 2, so I think he's going to get a Korn Ferry exemption for next year as well.
We may want to bring Mike on a little earlier and stay a little later.
Yeah.
He's got a full plate of info.
No, whenever he's ready, we're ready for sure. Love to talk to him. But yeah, awesome to see a Gator not only win the individual golf men's national championship, but the team national championship as well. So, that's why you got all these different sports at the universities, because you never know how many national championships you're going to win. Chris, everything going on good down there at the dealership as well as Kramer Marine and Outdoor?
I tell you what, in our world, it's all about 1 month to another. Yeah. We're closing out May and headed into June, and we had a great May. Not that it's my birthday, my wife's birthday, obviously, and our anniversary all in one, and Mother's Day. We never stopped celebrating.
That's right. I got anniversary in May too, and Mother's Day like back to back. So I understand.
But we're getting a lot more inventory in, and it's selling. It's the industry and the market as a whole is kind of getting back to what it used to be pre-COVID time. It's still not quite there, but we're getting a lot more inventory in. We are discounting darn near every vehicle that we have on the ground, and it's like I said, we're getting a lot of the good stuff in too.
That's awesome.
Full size SUVs, Tahoes, Yukons, a few Escalades, and they are selling as soon as we get them.
Every time I'm driving down 23rd Street, when I pass the Kramer lot, I'm like, they have by far the best inventory and most selection out there.
You're not biased, are you?
I'm not biased at all. No, that's what I see when I drive by. It's like, man, they got all the cars, and you go to some of the other ones and you just don't quite see as much. And then, of course, Kramer Marine and Outdoor, everybody's getting out on the water and all that stuff. Now, Suzuki just opened their testing facility here, right? And I know you had shared that. You guys sell Suzuki motors, but how does something like that coming into our area impact y'all's business?
Well, it can only help.
Yeah.
And what it shows the consumer and the local consumer, that they're serious and that they're quality, and that Suzuki is not the front runner in the marine outboard world. You've always historically had Yamahas and Mercuries, and you had Johnson Evinrude, but they don't make those anymore. But Suzuki's coming up and doing battle with the other two big, which Mercury already has a test facility here, and they're more of a saltwater focus with that test facility here. But when you put your stamp on a place like Panama City, and you do it in a way they have, that facility is to the nines. I counted, I believe it was 6 massive high-speed doors, which we're in the car business, and we know about shops, and we've looked at different equipment to use, and those high-speed doors, they ain't cheap. Reliant South, the local firm, actually built the building for Suzuki, and it was top-notch. So when you do that, you show people that you're building a quality product, you're doing what you need to do to test it and do research, because all that takes time. I mean, I've always understood that in the car world, at least, that they're working on product that won't come out for maybe a decade.
Wow,
and they're working on it now. But you've got to, in order to set the production line up and line up suppliers and whatnot for it. So it's all positive, and I think it's going to mean great things for Suzuki and for Panama City. We had a chamber meeting yesterday, and we're talking about that a little bit with Claire, and just exciting to see. So they actually do their testing out on the water while they're here. Mm-hmm. That's cool. Yeah, and I live on the bayou that Mercury has their test facility, and y'all see them. If you're out on the water, you see those yellow boats, and they're little ones and they're big ones, and they've got their guys. They're wearing full helmets and life jackets, and they could be in a little John boat with a tiller handle, or they can be in a 35-foot racing style boat, and they're doing laps, and that's their job, is to run those engines until they mess up or don't. But they're always hooked up to a system to monitor it, and they're doing their R&D, and they try to keep it as discreet as possible. But you see them shoot probably 7 days a week out there running those engines. So you've seen them with Mercury, now you'll see them with Suzuki. That's awesome. And will they be out in kind of the bayou areas as well? I think they like our area because of the no wake zones. So there are none that I can think of really that are out in the main base system. And so that they can go a long ways, and they'll even go out in the Gulf when it's calm, but they can go a long ways at a speed where they don't have to slow down and start back up. That makes sense. That's pretty cool. I didn't even think about that, because there really isn't. You can drive through all of our base system and never really have to slow down. If you go to South Florida, it's not the case. Yeah. Having unfettered access and open water and deep water, it's really an awesome place to boat. Speaking of boating, coming up here pretty soon, and I know you guys have a team in the tournament as well. We talk about it every day, but we're 27 days away from the Bay Point Billfish Open getting kicked off and bringing it back to. That's going to be a full. I think there's about 75 teams now registered for this event. So great turnout. I know everybody's excited about it. Us at the golf club, John, Scott, Jay, and George are all getting ready for this big event. His daughter's getting married first out there on number 5. So we're focusing on that event.
event next weekend, which we're excited about that one. That one's going to be pretty cool.
Oh, wow.
That one's
on number 5.
Yeah, going to try to do it out there on the
point.
Yeah, that's not something we advertise that we do for the general public. I'm sure.
But if you own it,
I'm sure if we talk to somebody that want to do it, we could probably find a number that would make sense.
Well, if they're out there on that stretch,
yep,
they're safe from me hitting into them, so I could still play that hole.
There you go. Yep.
I have a hard time finding that stretch of land.
That's such a it's a beautiful hole, but as far as a golf hole is concerned, it's definitely a little wonky, but certainly beautiful nonetheless.
My kids and Christopher finally got over. He's gotten over like twice.
Going back to the green side,
going from the 150 marker towards the green, where before the sawgrass, but they've all got to get up there and try to hit it over the sawgrass, and that sawgrass is menacing.
Yes.
I think it's only maybe 130 yards across from there.
Yep.
But they step up, tee up a drive, and just do their dead level best to get it there. He got it there the other day when we played.
That's an awesome. Yeah, I saw you guys out there playing. You had the whole fam out playing some golf. It was a very, very busy Memorial Day. Our busiest Memorial Day weekend we've ever had at the golf club.
And I'm gonna give you all a shout out. And I'm not new into golf, but having kids that play golf, I would say that Bay Point is the most kid-friendly golf course in the area.
And that's definitely our goal, and with Jay and all the stuff he does with juniors. But like we mentioned on the air earlier this week, we always, kids 12 and under with a paid adult, play for no charge, which is awesome. Of course, we have membership opportunities as well. And then kids from 13 to 17 with a paid adult is only $35. And we know, youth golf, if we're not, promoting that and making that encouraging, then we're just cutting our nose despite our face. I think that's the right phrase, because these are future golfers for us. And we also have those, I don't know if y'all play the U.S. Kids tees when you're out there, because we got the 5, 6, and 7 tee markers out there as well, little placards in the fairway, which are actually rated. I don't think the number 7 tees are rated, but the 5 tees and the 6 tees are rated for kids or anybody who wanted to post scores. So
we do play those. Generally, it seems like on the 5s are about 200 yards.
That's about right.
And that's where I make Christopher play from. I'll have to start backing him up a little bit more. He whooped me pretty good.
Yeah, you got to be careful with that. You let him get too far up there, and then they're hitting it up there close to the green. And
he's driving the green.
Yeah,
when he's hitting 150 in, and that's that makes the run to target, which they expect after a win, pretty much certainty.
Yes, yeah, definitely gonna have to start backing them up there. That is for sure. We are coming up on our first break. You are listening to the Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida. It is Kramer Day. It's Thursday. Mr. Chris Kramer is in studio with us. Already talked about the Florida Gators winning that NCAA Golf National Championship yesterday. Hard to believe that the golf seasons are now over on that aspect. But when we get back, we're going to talk a little bit about, I'd love to hear some updates. You got the baseball playoffs coming up here too locally, and I know I believe the 12U Braves, the Setup Braves, are getting underway tonight.
That's happening tonight. Championship game, Oakland Terrace.
That's right. We'll talk a little bit about more when we get back, and then jump into some of these college softball World Series games that are getting started this afternoon. You're listening to the Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida.
ESPN Northwest Florida. The afternoon underdogs.
The bullpen games. And both of the guys in there are saying, no, I mean, why are we doing this? I get it 1 or 2 times to ease your starters, give them a little bit of a break and try to see what you got out of these guys. But if it doesn't work out, those first 3 times, then why go back with that?
4 to 6 weekdays. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Good morning, this is Joanna on ESPN Northwest Florida with your weather forecast on this Thursday. A possibility of thunderstorms and very light showers this afternoon and evening with a gentle breeze coming out of the east-northeast around 11 miles per hour and temps near 79. We will have a mixture of some clouds and a likelihood of thunderstorms tonight and be warm at 70. And mostly sunny tomorrow and a high 85. Sunshine Saturday with a temp of 84. This forecast is brought to you by Ellis Agency Insurance. Thank you for tuning into ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Everyone loves gold chains. I mean, who doesn't? Gold always works. Tracy's Fine Jewelry inside Coin and Bullion Reserves features the largest selection of 14-karat gold chains, bracelets, pendants, and earrings you'll find anywhere. In fact, more than all the other stores in Bay County combined. and they're all on sale today at Tracy's Fine Jewelry inside Coin and Bullion Reserves. You won't find a larger selection or lower prices anywhere. Gold always works, and you can take that to the bank.
By now, you've heard us talking about Tiger TV Pro. Hi, David Hayes from the Afternoon Underdogs, here to remind you about this incredible streaming service with over 6,000 premium channels. And the cost, you ask? $15 a month. Yes, only $15 a month. Every sports channel is available, including the ACC and SEC network, the NFL, NBA, MLB, HBO, Showtime, and thousands more. For more info, go to our website at espnpc.com. Scroll down and click the Tiger logo.
Coming in hot.
So hot.
It'll be a hot one. Really hot. God damn.
The Inside Drive with Ryan Mulvey. Live from the Bill Kramer Chevrolet Buick GMC and Kramer Marine Outdoor Studios on ESPN Northwest Florida.
And welcome back. You're listening to the Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida. I was going to test you, David. I didn't know if you could load it in there quickly and throw some Bone Thugs and Harmony first of the month. It is, as Mr. Kramer did mention, it is the first of the month. Hard to believe we are in June already.
You want that as the outro or the intro of the next segment?
Both?
I'll do it both times for you, brother. I got you covered.
Maybe that'll send out the bat signal for Jay when he hears Little Bone Thugs and Harmony.
I don't know. I think that's Pony.
It's only Pony. That's right. That's right. But you're listening to the Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida. You can listen live and local on 104.3 in Panama City, 101.9 along the Forgotten Coast, as well as 102.1 in Mariana up to Dothan and at Jay's grandmother up there in Southwest Georgia. 3 great local shows Monday through Friday. Starts the day off with the Coach James Hale Show from 7 to 9, followed by us, the Inside Drive, from 11 to 1, and then David Hayes and the Afternoon Underdogs every afternoon from 4 to 6 p.m. You can also watch us live on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. Just search ESPN Northwest Florida. You can also visit ESPNPC.com, click that Listen Live button, and then last but not least, you can download our free mobile app inside the Google Play or Apple Store. Chris, we had a great baseball season, the Bay County Interleague season. Sudeth Park reopened and got kicked off, and now it's playoff time. So talk a little bit about some of the big-time games coming up.
So the 12U teams play this week, and the Sudeth Braves beat the Highland Park All-Stars. And I tell you what's really unique about how this is set up, but it's actually the All-Stars from each individual league play the All-Stars of the other leagues. So Sudeth has one team in 12U. Yeah. So it's one team playing the All-Stars
of all the,
all the others.
Absolutely.
So they get the best of the cream of the crop from the other leagues. And Sudeth, I mean, they won big the other night against Highland Park. And I tell you, the pitcher for Sudeth Braves, I think she has pitched past the max pitch count, so she won't be able to pitch tonight. But Kenzie Brumiller was, I mean, throwing some heat.
That's
and
awesome.
She could throw a curveball that would make you dive out of the way from the stands. It was unbelievable. But they really did a great job. And this is a championship game. First season Sudeth has been back in a couple decades, and they're going to the championship game tonight. It's 6 o'clock, Oakland Terrace, and they're taking on Callaway. So it's a big deal. Hopefully Sudeth can bring back some hardware.
So it's basically, did Callaway, I'm assuming, had multiple 12U teams?
It'd be the Callaway All-Stars.
Okay, so you got all that. So they already took care of the Southport
Highland Park.
Park,
I believe that Callaway beat Southport.
Okay, gotcha.
And so those 4 teams played in the semis and then move on to the championship.
I know it's going to be a raucous crowd tonight.
It's going to be nuts
over there at Oakland Terrace, and we'll certainly be pulling for the Sudeth Braves.
If you thought the SpaceX entry was something else with all the fanfare, you wait till the championship.
That's right, man. That's going to be exciting. I got our first flag football practice of the season tonight. Otherwise, we may pop over there and check it out. Which, you know, it's not too far away there. It's a great.
You're doing that at Frank Nelson?
Yeah, Frank Nelson. Yep, and then. We got practice next week, but I know that we've got, talk about the 8U or the other Sudeth teams that are still playing.
10U and 8U start next week, and they are, again, same rules apply. The 10U team, there was one 10U team at Sudeth, and they'll take on the All-Stars from the others, and hopefully win the semis and move on to the championship and bring back the championship for 10U to Sudeth Ballpark. And then 8U did have 2 teams, so they were able to combine for All-Stars and take on the other leagues. But big week for Sudeth Ballpark next week as well.
And what a great re-entry into Bay County youth baseball with reopening the park. We talked about it on the first show in the history of Sudeth Park and how it kind of, went dormant there for a little while after everybody started playing travel ball. And then, Hurricane Michael happens, flash forward, the park's beautiful, better than ever. Just a great ballpark there too, especially, you got the water in the background and that American flag. When the sun comes down at Sudeth Park and the lights come on, that's a special place for sure.
It is, and you realize what your kids are really engaged and interested in when you're not asking them or telling them to do anything. You see what they're doing, and right now the kids are, when they get together, they're playing baseball.
That's awesome, and that's what it's all about.
And they would not have had it not been for that park, because we just weren't going to do, and a lot of parents weren't going to do the travel ball and play other sports as well. But this is a great option. It's local, and there's other leagues in other neighborhoods, but if you're in the Cove, it's a great option to practice in the Cove, to play a majority of your games in the Cove, to meet other families in your neighborhood that you otherwise may not have met, and play a sport that your kids may not have played if it wasn't for that ballpark being available. Yeah. And they love it. And it really, I love all the other sports, but baseball is America's pastime.
There's a reason for that. Yeah, that's for sure. And heck, we don't even live out in the Cove, and we were coming over Sudeth for 3 months, all the way from the heart of Panama City Beach. So it's been fun for us to get to know a lot of new people and dive in and just having a lot of fun playing baseball. So Liam's he's excited about next week, and we're excited obviously to transition to flag football. But
I think Kramer Marine and Outdoor should have a ferry system from the beach into town.
You've talked about this before. I think it's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
You'd be able to, it's just a straight shot, and you could just be right there at the Bay Point Marina.
I like it.
And you just hop on the ferry, take a nice little ride, and I don't see why we can't make that happen.
Yeah.
It's definitely
some Yamahas or Suzuki's on the back of it.
Yeah.
Get on down the road.
That's right. Wouldn't even have to fight that traffic. You could just come right over on the boat. I think it's a great idea. But yeah, good luck to all the local teams playing tonight. I know a lot of people are transitioning to summer sports, a lot of camps going on, volleyball, football, baseball. It's that time of year. Ryan's excited to do some Mosley volleyball camps early next week. And there's just a lot of other good stuff going on. There's so much stuff in the summertime for your kids to get involved in, not just from a sporting standpoint, but all the STEM stuff, all that really cool stuff around the area, which I think makes, obviously we're a heavy tourist destination, but a great place to live as well, because the stuff for locals, especially for families and children, is pretty awesome.
Well, there's one out there you might not even know about, but St. Andrews Bay Yacht Club hosts a sailing camp.
I saw that.
And it's actually been around since I took it. I went to sailing camp there. So if you're interested in sailing or learning more about it, or you put your kids in the program, it's a great entry level. They go through the whole safety and navigation aspect, and how to put up the sails, how to handle all the equipment, how to care for it properly, and then how to operate it. It's a great opportunity to get your kids out on the water with other kids.
Well, and that's just a great skill to learn how to do. And there's not many places you can learn how to do that unless you're on the water, by a lake, or whatever it may be. So, yeah, check that out. It's at the St. Andrews Bay Yacht Club.
St. Andrews Bay Yacht Club, yeah.
You guys got a fishing tournament coming up here pretty soon, too, right?
We do. It's the Holy Nativity Episcopal School 26th annual fishing tournament. Whew. And it's at the Yacht Club. That's scheduled for late July 21st and 22nd, I believe. Captain's meeting would be the 20th. So snapper season will be open. Gag grouper's going to be out this year. Red grouper actually goes out the 21st in federal waters. So catch red grouper be inside of 9 miles, which is state waters. But categories like beeliner, black snapper, we're going to have wahoo, tuna, do non-red grouper, non-gag, so scamp, if you get out in the deep water, talking yellow edge, snowy grouper, and hopefully some big fish are brought in. We won a couple years ago, and that was awesome. I've fished that tournament myself since it was off the dock. So really the 27th But so this would be the before the first official tournament, and I'll never forget it. I won the smallest fish category on hook and line.
A win's a win.
And I took home a black tool tackle box.
Nice.
And I'll never forget it.
And you still got it.
I still have it.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't take care of it, but I'll never forget that. And, gosh, that was almost 30 years ago. So
those are the memories you make in these kind of things. I remember doing a fishing tournament in New Jersey at a pond, and I was a little kid, and I still have the rod I won from catching a couple fish in that thing. But stuff like that you never forget, and then you can go right from that fishing tournament right into the billfish tournament. So you guys are going to be busy fishing, but that's all great timing when everything kind of opens up. I know the tarpon have been running pretty good out there. Every time I see Coach Greg's Facebook page for his charter that he does, it seems like they're catching tarpon after tarpon after tarpon out there.
If you are looking to get on some of these traveling tarpon, we have some tarpon that live here year round, but there's tarpon that travel the beaches, and I have tried to catch them forever, and I feel like I've thrown everything in the kitchen sink at them, but I fail to have some patience. I think that's what it takes. But Captain Greg with Complete Inshore Charters put us on it. He's a baseball coach down at Sudeth. Great guy. Kids, everybody lives and hangs out there in the cove, and he took us out and put us on them, and it was awesome. We hooked up right off the bat, jumped about 100-pound fish, fought it for 45 minutes, got some really cool aerial shots, and brought it in, and then fished the rest of the morning. Had a couple bite, but didn't hook up, but watched them. We were on fish all morning.
Yeah, man. So they just kind of move through the area, and you just got to kind of catch them when they're coming through.
And they're traveling. And tarpon are an interesting fish. They will actually come up for air. They're one of the few fish that will actually take gulps of air.
Gotcha.
So they'll travel, and you'll see them, and they'll come up, and you'll see fish out there, and you'll think it's dolphin. But it's not. They're big. They're 100+ pounds, but they're tarpon, and they're just moving through. And occasionally, for whatever reason, they'll decide to eat. But they may go for an hour or 2 hours and not eat. They're just traveling. But going west down the beach, and we did it Memorial Day weekend. we were fighting fish with the banana boats and jet skiers and everything. It was a maze.
That's the beauty of our waters. There's lots of good stuff to do out there. Now, tarpon, you can't take them out of the water, right? When you're unhooking them, you got to leave them in, quote unquote.
It's safer for the fish.
For the fish,
to leave them in. And then if you fought any kind of fish for that amount of time, you want to make sure that they've got plenty of life left in them before you just throw them back. And so if you can pull them, maybe with the boat a little bit and let the water flow through their gills. The last thing, and this is painful to watch when you're snapper and grouper fishing, but either dolphin, porpoise, or sharks have a tendency to find those fish, even ones that aren't worn out, but the ones that are just don't stand a chance.
Yeah, because they can't get away.
And the dolphin and the sharks they will wreak havoc on fish you let go.
Well, and completely different subject topic. The Women's College World Series of Softball is underway as we speak. We talked earlier in the week about all the teams that came out of the Super Regionals and have made it to the World Series. Bracket 1, you've got Oklahoma, Tennessee, Alabama, and Stanford. And today, right now on ESPN, you've got Alabama versus Tennessee. Right now it's in the top of the second at 0-0. And then following that game, you've got Oklahoma and Stanford. Obviously, Oklahoma probably the odds-on favorite to win the Women's College World Series, only losing one game so far this year. And then later on today, you switch over to that second bracket. You've got Florida State, the next highest seed at number 3 seed, taking on Oklahoma State. That's going to be at 7 p.m. tonight on ESPN. And then you've got the out west teams at 8:30 tonight on ESPN. That's Washington will be taking on Utah. Women's college softball all the regionals, the conference championships are just a ton of fun to watch. But this is some of the best sporting event you can see. Fast pace, all that good stuff. Jay Henley in studio. Our demographic can now tune in that we try to get to that women, we'll say 44 to 65 is Jay Henley's target demographic that he brings in here on the Inside Drive live on ESPN Northwest Florida. Jay, how are you this morning?
I'm good. How you doing?
What you drinking there?
Dr. Pepper.
From Buffalo Rock.
Yes, sir.
23 delicious flavors. It sounded a little bit like a little bit of a pop top there from something different, but I know you probably got some more lessons going on this afternoon. How'd the camp go today?
Good. Yeah, very good. I'm glad the weather held out for this morning for sure.
Yeah.
It was, it was dicey.
And that's what we talk about all the time. If the weather forecast says it's going to rain, it just may rain at some point somewhere, maybe not on the golf course. Because even yesterday afternoon, it rained a little bit, but then it cleared up nicely and people were still out there playing golf. So what were y'all working on this morning?
We did chipping and we actually did some putting this morning. So that was cool to do some putting. And if it was going to rain, man, I didn't know what I was going to do. It may have been a Caddyshack morning in the clubhouse, or something.
Oh, yeah, definitely set up a little mini golf course throughout the clubhouse.
Yeah, or watching Caddyshack.
Oh, yeah.
I showed my kids that for the first time the other week.
We were talking about that yesterday, I believe, and some of the scenes, it just depends.
Better learn early than later.
Yeah, don't be surprised.
And if you learn it the way Caddyshack does it, I think we're all right.
Yeah, and it goes hand in hand with the yacht club and sailing and all that stuff.
Yeah. Well, somebody even hit it in the lake earlier this morning, yesterday, and one kid said, "Oh, that's in the lumber yard." And I was like, "Oh man, that's great. That's great."
That's a classic movie, that's for sure. But one more day of this camp. When's your next camp coming up?
Next one will be less than 2 weeks. It'll not this Tuesday, but next Tuesday, and that's for ages 7 to 10. So that so there'll be a little bit,
that younger age bracket's a little more herding cats action than the 11 to 14-year-olds, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But still, it's just making sure they're enjoying the game of golf and out there having fun. I mean,
absolutely.
I don't know if you heard Chris on the radio before giving us some praise at Bay Point, talking about being kid friendly and family friendly, and a lot of that has to do with all the good stuff that you've got going on out there. Wow. Taking care of the youth around here, and golf's just such a good sport to get involved in because you can do it anytime. You can do it by yourself. Obviously, you have to have the equipment and that kind of stuff.
Right.
But it's something you can do for the rest of your life. You can do it with your friends, your family. Nothing better than going out there. And I know you make a point to go out there and play your scrambles and have fun. And it's just time that you're out there. You're playing a sport, but you're out there with your family enjoying that time. And
well, a few Saturdays ago, it was probably my best Saturday in quite some time. I'm not going to lie, Chris. Like whenever we had the kids come out and did the scramble, the Bay Point Bash. Yeah. And we actually even had neighborhood kids that don't typically play golf that were spectating through this whole match. So it was phenomenal.
Any of them jump in the ponds?
Yeah, I can't remember.
That does happen quite a bit out there. You wouldn't catch me swimming in one of those ponds, but to each his own, I guess.
No, I haven't seen a gator in a while. So
not even the gators, but just a lot of water moccasins and snapping turtles and that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
we don't really have a ton of gators. We get one every once in a while. It's funny when we have vacationers in town, like, you guys got gators here? I'm like, no, not really. You kind of got to go to the East Coast for that kind of action.
Yeah.
Savannah, Hilton Head, all the Kiowa Islands got a ton of gators.
Is that because of the marshes are over there, I think? Or what? Anyways, I'm not a scientist, as we all.
Biologist.
Biologist.
Yeah.
But,
yeah.
We're not doing rocket surgery.
Yeah, rocket surgery. The medulla oblongata. Yeah. You've been talking about the water boy a bunch.
The water boy
Louisiana,
keeps coming up.
That water clarity.
I played at Kiowa Island one time, and I had to basically step over about a 10-foot alligator on the cart path.
Yes.
Just laying there.
Oh, my God.
I had no care in the world for
Just getting warm. Yeah, it's like you were talking about. You played at Shark Street. I mean, I've seen gators, rattlesnakes, all sorts of crazy stuff out there. But you got to stay wearing that $3 ball may not be worth it. Just drop another one and hit your next shot.
I was like, actually, I saw Paul, the head pro or whatever. Like, I was cruising into Sharks Tooth, and he was on this like workhorse or something. Yeah. And I'm like, I thought I'd see him in the golf shop. I'm like, dude, what are you doing out here? He goes, well, we've got a mama bear loose out here. And I'm like, oh my God, like.
Did they teach you anything about that in PGA?
No, they kind of left the black bears off the curriculum when it came to that kind of stuff. That's more of a situational thing. But yeah, I mean, Florida black bears, that's a thing we do have around here.
Yeah.
We do have a break coming up. You are listening to the Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida. Very excited at the top of the hour to talk to Mike Berger and hear all his insight and stories working with Fred Biondi, who is now a Florida Gator team national champion in addition to the NCAA individual national champion. We'll be right back. You're listening to the Inside Drive live on ESPN Northwest Florida.
ESPN Northwest Florida, your home for Mike Greenberg.
The story of this series is that the Celtics have the better players, but the Heat are the better team. Period. End of sentence. Someone has to answer for it. It's that simple. You want to say it's the stars? Put it on them. You want to say it's the coach? Put it on him. But when you have the better players and don't have the better team, then you failed. It's that simple.
Greeny. Weekdays on ESPN Northwest Florida.
I have some great gift ideas for you here at Tracy's Fine Jewelry inside Coin and Bullion Reserves. We have a large selection of 14-karat charms starting at just $19.95. Engrave a personal message and add a special coin for your dad's birth year on a money clip or keychain. And a beautiful designer Bulova watch is a perfect gift that will be treasured forever. Always a perfect gift for any occasion. From Tracy's Fine Jewelry inside Coin and Bullion Reserves, where our reputation shines as brightly as our diamonds.
Are you ready for Panama City's best pizza? Then check out the new Guru's Pizza 786. They don't do just pizza, they also serve wings, pasta, calzones, salads, sandwiches, and more. Guru's Pizza 786 has 50 plus Indian and Italian pizza varieties. They're open Monday through Thursday until midnight, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday until 3 a.m. Takeout and delivery are available. Guru's Pizza 786, 7806 Front Beach Road. Call 850-588-5055. Better quality and better taste.
Hey folks, Chris Kramer with Bill Kramer GM. And the best place to listen to the Inside Drive with Ryan Mulvey is inside a brand new vehicle from Bill Kramer GM. And I want you to know we've got 10 times the amount of inventory on the ground as we did this time last year, and darn near all of them are discounted. So shop us online at BillKramerGM.com or visit us at the corner of Frankfurt and 23rd. We'll make it easy and take great care of you.
You hear it first. Sports talk right now. Back to the Inside Drive with Ryan Mulvey.
I know it seems a bit overwhelming at first.
Broadcasting from the Bill Kramer Chevrolet Buick GMC and Kramer Marine Outdoor Studios.
Something makes me think you'll get used to it.
On ESPN Northwest Florida.
It's no pony, but it's certainly up there, and it's fitting because it is June 1st. You're listening to Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida, sitting inside the Bill Kramer Chevrolet Buick GMC and Kramer Marine and Outdoor Studios. Looking forward again. Top of the hour, we'll be joined by Chris's brother-in-law, Mike Berger. He's a PGA professional, played in the PGA Club Professional Championship, but has been working with Fred Biondi for a long time, and can't wait to hear some of the stories and some of the insight he has. One of the things you had mentioned, we'll talk about it with him too, is just he's got a big decision to make. He's got it as the NCAA individual national championship. Now, Jay, that's a criteria to get into the Masters.
Okay.
But in order to get into the Masters under that criteria, you have to retain your amateur status because it's an amateur exemption. So he can't go pro and take that exemption.
Gotcha.
But if he wants to go pro, you're foregoing a Masters invite. So something we'll talk a little bit about with Mike, but just what a decision to have. Yeah. What a position, to be in. Obviously, he's put himself in that position being an unbelievable golfer. Individual national championship is quite a feat in the world of college golf to beat all those other good players. So can't wait to talk to him a little bit.
If you're going to have tough choices in life, those are the ones you want.
Yeah, right.
Do I play in the Masters?
Turn pro, make some money, or play in the Masters as an amateur? I don't know.
Yeah.
But if he plays well as a pro, he can end up going back to Augusta National, or going to Augusta National.
Right.
That route.
And this is part of the whole U thing that the PGA?
That PGA Tour U that just came out pretty recently. And he's also going, because with that, people that finish 2 through 5th for the will have a limit of number of PGA Tour events they can get in, but they'll also have a Korn Ferry exemption as well. The number 1 player in the PGA Tour U ranking will get PGA Tour membership for the year of 2024. So that's pretty cool.
Nice.
And then with Fred winning the individual national championship, he gets that invite to Augusta National and the Masters. That's what's cool about the Masters too, is you've got U.S. Amateur winner, runner-up. Now you've got the NCAA National Championship. You've got British amateur guys. You've got the Asian amateur guys, the South American. You've got all these people that have an opportunity to play at Augusta as an amateur, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, and they took away the mid-amateur champion, which I'm a little disappointed in that. That takes away, obviously, all your college players.
Did they take away the mid-amateur altogether? Is that still around?
Well, I don't know. I knew that it didn't, with the Augusta, invite, but
it might have been the team one. I still think they're doing the U.S. Mid-Am, but they removed one of those, or they took one of those.
Right.
But yeah, no, that's coming up.
But that gives, and if you're not familiar with it, but that gives you, if you're 20, I think it's 26 or older, it basically eliminates the college players, is that's why they call it a mid-am, like a middle-aged, for those that are listening. But yeah, I mean, it, because I figured out real quick a few weeks ago, you don't want to compete with college players as a 42-year-old.
No, not typically. Yeah, when you were at that U.S. Open qualifier, I think you found that one out pretty good. But yeah, did you see any of the national championship matches last night?
I did. I watched it, and congratulations, Chris, to your Florida Gators. That was amazing.
Did you see the wind out there?
Yeah,
because they had some really bad storms just east of them. I want to say in New Mexico and Texas. So I think they were getting a little bit of that breeze, but it was howling. But that's the thing about golf, really any sport you play outdoors, it's the playing field is all the same, and I don't know, Florida having an advantage with that, but yeah, they played well.
I was talking to Michael Shears this morning a little bit about it because he's played Greyhawk, and he was talking about there are some houses out on the golf course, which I didn't see many houses out there, but it's kind of a non-typical desert style golf course. But I've never played desert golf. I'd love to one day, but I'm sure it's a lot different than playing here in the Panhandle for sure.
Well, in my experience, the weather can change in the drop of a hat. And rolling off the desert, it's pretty ominous. Watching that come in, almost like watching a storm roll in off the Gulf Stream. But when we were out there, it was 50, 60 mile an hour winds. Oh my God. Storm blows through. I mean, it was snow within our sight.
Yeah.
And then it blows through, and it's back to normal 10 mile an hour winds and sunshine.
Those draws you get in the morning and the afternoon, they certainly make a big difference. We were talking yesterday, you asked about, playing match play or stroke play. And I think Florida, with their momentum that they had, I was telling Chris earlier that Florida looked like Florida State had it. Florida finished strong at the end. Yesterday, Florida got out to a really good start, and then Georgia Tech kind of got ahead in a couple matches, and then Florida fought back and tied it up and ended up winning pretty convincingly. But, momentum in golf is such a big thing. You were talking about forgetting your errors and that kind of stuff, and I think match play creates that naturally because each hole is an individual match in itself. That's why I love when we get to see match play on the golf standpoint on TV, and looking forward to the Ryder Cup.
Yeah, and they were talking a little bit last night about, how much this meant for both coaches in that Georgia Tech and that Florida, deal, because I don't think the Georgia Tech coach had even had a national championship, but it was really cool to see how, you're playing for your coach, and that's the cool part about it.
And your university.
Absolutely. And your university, for sure.
Like, I think there was more people probably in this area just from what maybe we've been talking about or seeing different things and the excitement of it, watching college golf on TV, because I saw so many people posting about it and talking about it, which is pretty cool because, obviously the Ryder Cup on the professional standpoint, you're playing for your country, but golf is such an individual sport. That's why college golf, I think, is cool because you're playing for your team, you're playing for your fan base, and there's a lot riding on each and every one of those shots out there, and they certainly can hold up to that pressure. I was nervous watching, and I couldn't imagine what they feel, but maybe they don't feel it, and that's why they're so good.
And how emotional, we were texting the other night about how emotional both teams have gotten, and you were talking about just what was that match? Was that Florida FSU?
Yeah, 2 nights ago.
2 nights ago? Just how emotional you saw one team and then the other.
Oh, yeah, when Castillo drained that birdie putt to send him to the national championship.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, the excitement of the one side and then just the complete devastation. Brett Roberts, putting his head down crying, and Trey trying to console him.
Roberts didn't have a bad hole.
No.
Castillo just drilled that birdie putt.
He kind of felt it coming. He'd kind of had that momentum. He was playing a little more like, I'm coming to get you.
Yeah.
And you felt it as they went in the extra holes. You just kind of felt like Brett Roberts was trying to hang on a little bit. And then, they went back to 10 for that third extra hole, and both hit it up there on the green. And that's where the advantage, too. I think, Brett Roberts was putting from behind where he was. So it's always going to help when you get that little extra read, especially in those scramble tournaments.
You talk a lot about when you practice hitting to a target.
Yeah.
And watching them, understanding that a little bit now, it seemed like they were all picking the same targets.
Yeah.
And more often than I think I see in PGA Tour golf, they all seem to be close together. Even when they were in a sand trap in the fairway, they were both in the sand trap.
Right.
Or they were aiming for that part of the green. They were both there. They were just within 5-10 feet of each other. That stuck out to me as unique in that match play collegiate golf that I just don't think I see much of. You watch a PGA tournament.
Yeah. They knew where to miss it, where not to miss it.
Right, and they were hitting it.
And they were hitting it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's that hard part. I know where you're supposed to hit it. That last step of actually hitting it there it doesn't always work, that's for sure. But that's what's cool about match play, too, is, you a lot of times I'd rather go second in match play, even though you have the honor. So sometimes if you're a little further back, because it depends on the type of player you are, but do you want to see what your opponent did and then be able to react on that? Or do you want to hit it close and force your opponent's hand? What would you rather do in match play, Jay?
I'm stepping up and I'm setting the I'm setting the
tone. That's just your personality.
Yeah.
How big a boy are you?
But no, I would rather do that. I don't. I mean, what if he hits it 3 feet? Then then it's like, oh. Boy,
yeah. Now what do you do?
Yeah. Now what do you do?
Yeah. But, I think that's why going first can certainly be an advantage too. Just
how about you, Mad Dog Mulvey?
I'm probably in your same boat. I'd rather set the tone and hit one in there close. A lot of times too, if you don't hit it, in my little experience in match play, playing junior golf in New Jersey, if you don't hit a great shot as the first person, a lot of times that second person won't hit that great of a shot either because they don't feel like they have to hit a really good shot. You get a little more leeway, and when you do that in golf, you get a little wayward sometimes. I think you saw that in some of the matches, especially coming down in the FSU Florida match when they weren't hitting that great of shots, missing the bunker left, and then they had an opportunity a few times to hit one close in there and just couldn't capitalize. But
that's another life lesson. There's so many of them, but you are who you surround yourself with.
That's right.
And you'll become like them in more ways than you would ever know, based on who you surround yourself with in watching that match play. Like I said, they ended up basically in the same spot, and you feed off those around you.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. That's why I want Jay to do the show with me. The more times he stays around me, the better I get. And, it start rubbing off.
Making you look better, Ryan. That's no pun intended.
That's it.
That's hopefully I don't hurt y'all too bad on Thursdays.
That's why we're on the radio. But no, it's so fun to watch, especially high level collegiate golf, because they're not playing for money.
Yeah.
They're just out there playing golf for their teammates, for their coach, for their school. And I think sometimes when you're doing that, you maybe put a little more into it than playing for money and that kind of stuff. I don't know. That's just a thought on that kind of side of things. But cool to see it come to a.
Well, there's just certain coaches, and I don't know about you. I mean, I've had former bosses in my life or managers or whatever that you just want to perform well for them. And like I think of Coach K, at Duke. I mean,
we still never did our spelling bee.
I know.
I'm saving that for a special day. Just for
was that going to be one of yours? Was the
Mike Krzyzewski.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
whatever.
If you can't pronounce it, you probably can't spell it.
That's right. That's right. But yeah, I mean, what would be your coach that you would just absolutely just love to just do just everything for that guy?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot. That's a tough one. Man. I may have to punt to Chris on this one so I can think for a second.
You grew up a Krzyzewski guy?
No, I mean, not really, but he's just one of those where if you watch him coach, like, man, I just want to just do anything for it. Like, I want to hit a half-court shot for you to win the,
I feel the opposite about him. I grew up singing, I'm a Tar Heel born, I'm a Tar Heel bred. That was my dad went there, his dad, my brother, sister. Yeah, I mean, they all went there, all watched the basketball. So I'm Dean Smith.
I got you.
And Bobby Bowden.
Yeah.
Now Bobby would be another.
Well, that's the best way to lead.
Yeah.
Is the people that they'll perform because they're trying to, because they want to, not because they're told to.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's
it's
awesome
just gaining that respect. Yeah. Whatever it may be. But no.
Yeah, I'm kind of. I need. like a coach, fired up, excited. That's how I try to be a lot too with the kids, is just excited, because if you're excited, they're excited. Some of these coaches, just kind of go through the motions, and obviously they're playing, but I like getting fired up, being emotional.
I'll testify to that. Yeah. I've been on the other side of your flag football excitement.
Hey, it's a balance. Yeah,
I've played for him.
Yeah, that's true.
So you don't do anything different whether you're coaching adults or coaching kids.
Nope. And if I'm playing adult, it's that same energy.
I've been in the same huddle with him before. I mean, like, he's like, dude, you better make this. You better catch this, or you're sleeping outside.
It's positive reinforcement, but it's also accountability.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
When you drop touchdown passes in the end zone,
you can't do that, Jay.
You can't.
Did you do that, Jay?
I did.
In our first game in the winter season this past year, he's wide open on a little corner route, and I hit him with a laser beam from about 40 yards right in the gut, and it just falls out.
That was a long time ago, guys. We're still talking about it.
Hey, it hurts. It hurts.
That's how emotional it is.
It hurts. But no, Jay's an excellent defender. Now he's not playing in our...
ain't catching him anymore. That was a good move there.
We might have wrote some pine after that. But,
we are getting a bit historical here, aren't we?
I mean, that was like 6 months ago. I think I've got it on video too, in case we revisit it. But
you do.
Top of the hour coming up, we've got Mike Berger. He's a PGA member, Chris's brother-in-law. Can't wait to talk to him and hear all the stories about Fred Biondi coming up as a junior golfer and now a collegiate golfer, NCAA national champion. So he's coming up here at the top of the hour. Excited to talk to him. We got the NBA Finals tonight. Nuggets and the Miami Heat. Steve Alexander, who we had on yesterday, Dr. A. He's got, if we get some time later on, he wrote a little article for ESPN that they put out talking about some bets and all that. So I definitely want to get into that later if we have time. Again, you're listening to the Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida. We'll be right back at the top of the hour with Mike Berger.
ESPN Northwest Florida. The afternoon underdogs.
The bullpen games. And both of the guys in there are saying, no, I mean, why are we doing this? I get it one or two times to ease your starters, give them a little bit of a break and try to see what you got out of these guys. But if it doesn't work out, those first 3 times, then why go back with that?
4 to 6 weekdays. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Good morning. This is Joanna on ESPN Northwest Florida with your weather forecast on this Thursday. A possibility of thunderstorms and very light showers this afternoon and evening with a gentle breeze coming out of the east-northeast around 11 miles per hour and temps near 79. We will have a mixture of some clouds and a likelihood of thunderstorms tonight and be warm at 70. And mostly sunny tomorrow and a high 85. Sunshine Saturday with a temp of 84. This forecast is brought to you by Ellis Agency Insurance. Thank you for tuning into ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
By now, you've heard us talking about Tiger TV Pro. Hi, David Hayes from the Afternoon Underdogs, here to remind you about this incredible streaming service with over 6,000 premium channels. And the cost, you ask? $15 a month. Yes, only $15 a month. Every sports channel is available, including the ACC and SEC Network, the NFL, NBA, MLB, HBO, Showtime, and thousands more. For more info, go to our website at espnpc.com. Scroll down and click the Tiger logo.
WGSX Lynn Haven, WTOT, W271DM Mariana, WVLQ Port St. Joe.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
PCB Hobby, the beach's premier hobby store for sports cards, comics, coins, and trading card games. PCB Hobby carries the largest selection of boxes and packs from the latest releases of brands like Topps, Panini, Leaf, and more. Looking for a specific player or team? PCB Hobby has a wide assortment of raw and graded cards. They carry parallel rookie, game used, and autographed cards in both modern and vintage. Have a collection you want to sell? We buy, sell, and trade. PCB Hobby on Back Beach Road, just east of Florida Linen. Call 850-320-8388.
Welcome to the Inside Drive, the next big thing.
It's a big, huge, giant deal.
Sports betting, huge reactions, your calls and real-time coverage of the stories you're following. Broadcasting from the Bill Kramer Chevrolet Buick GMC and Kramer Marine Outdoor Studios on ESPN Northwest Florida.
This is how we do it.
I was was about to mention, too, that we were probably the only sports talk radio station in the country that has Afternoon Delight playing. But I'll take This Is How We Do It, that's for sure. Because this is the time we switch from the morning to the afternoon here along the Florida Panhandle. There we go. Thank you, David. I didn't mean to, I wasn't a dig or anything like that, but,
I slipped, man. That's my bad. I knew better.
Okay.
As soon as you started talking, I was like, oh.
You were thinking Bone Thugs.
Yeah.
I got to that.
You did get that, too. But not only the host of the Afternoon Underdogs, but the best producer in radio as well, David Hayes, behind the glass. We appreciate him joining us every day on the Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida. It is Thursday, so it is Kramer Day, and we are sitting inside the Bill Kramer Chevrolet Buick GMC and Kramer Marine and Outdoor Studios. You can visit them at 2251 West 23rd Street. If you got any questions about anything, give us a call today, 850-215-6290. We got Mr. Chris Kramer in studio. But right now, we have his brother-in-law, Mr. Mike Berger, joining us from down in South Florida. Mike, how are you doing today? Mike, you there?
I'm here.
Okay. Hey, how are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Good. Thank you for joining us today. And I know you and Chris have been talking a lot about leading up to the show. And I feel like I already know you because when we first started this radio show about a month ago, Chris was out there caddying for you in the PGA Professional National Championship. So we got to kind of recap your round and all that good stuff. And I'm the general manager here at Bay Point Golf Club, and Jay Henley's our director of instruction, fellow PGA member. So
I met Mike back a few months ago. Yeah. How you doing, Mike?
Nice.
Yeah, I'm doing great, Jay.
Great to have you on.
Christmas time.
Yeah, it was. It was
Happy
about
to-
Christmas. Yeah, absolutely.
That's about the time you dropped the pass.
Oh, okay.
Let's bring that up again.
not that we're revisiting that, but so Mike, obviously, we were talking a little bit about Florida Gators winning the national championship and your student Fred Biondi winning the individual NCAA national championship. So I'm just going to kind of let you talk about how that all came to fruition, and love to hear your insights on this whole story.
Yeah, for sure. It's, incredible ride, really. First of all, congratulations to the Gators and head coach J.C. Deacon and the assistant coach Dudley Hartman. Those guys, they're great people, great coaches, and the rest of the guys on the team. Man, they definitely deserved it. It was very entertaining. If you like watching golf, it was some pretty entertaining matches the last couple of days for sure. It was really, really incredible. But yeah, the Fred Biondi story is pretty awesome. I first met Fred when he was 12 years old. So, we're talking 10 years ago now. I was teaching full-time for a golf academy, and we kind of did full-service stuff. He would come part-time in the summertime, even a little bit in the wintertime because their seasons are actually opposite over where they are. So winter, summer, and summer, winter. And just a nice kid, pretty good golfer. He loved the game of golf. He has awesome family. His mom and dad are great people, and he was so young, they weren't ready to kind of send him away because the where I worked was actually like a full-time, almost boarding, golf academy, and they weren't ready to let him go. So finally he turned 14, and his parents said, you really want to do this? You're going to move away from your family, and is this what you want to do? And Fred said, yeah. So he made the decision to break away from his family, if you want to call it that, and go pursue his love of the game and get as good as he could. And that's where myself and who I teach with, Matt Dijon, down here in Southeast Florida, kind of stepped in, and the journey began. And just pretty good player. He just started getting a little bit better and a little bit better, and he just worked really, really hard, and he loved the game of golf, and you could kind of tell. At that age, you don't know how good they're going to get, but he turned 15, and he started playing some golf, and he got noticed really quick as a junior golfer at his summer when he was 15. He won his first FJT event, which is the FSGA sanctioned junior tour event. I'll never forget that. I was there with him. Shot 75 the first round, shot 69 the final round with a hole-in-one. Came from 5 shots back to win.
Wow.
And that was pretty cool. And then that summer, he won the boys junior state amateur. The second round, he shot 64.
Yeah,
so
in Florida, winning that tournament,
15-year-old.
Yeah, that's insane. That's awesome.
Yeah. And then the very next summer, because how that tournament's broken up, you play in a 13 to 15 age division, and then you play in a 16 to 18. So he won as a 15-year-old, and then he jumped age divisions, and guess what he did next summer? He won it again as a 16-year-old. He won it back-to-back.
That's
which is pretty So that's really what made Fred, because doing what I did back then with Matt, we are everything. I am his coach. I am his agent. I put him in his tournaments. I do help him with his college recruiting. Like, we did all that. So I traveled all around the state, all around the country, qualified for the U.S. floorball with another student. Matt Dijon and I caddied for him in that. That was awesome. All these AJGA invitationals. And then it just kind of started blossoming. And then I actually went with Fred on his first college visit ever. The first one he ever did was University of Florida. So my ties with Chris and my family and all my older siblings all went there. So I kind of knew what University of Florida athletics is, like, you know, where they hold themselves in the relation to the rest of the country, the SEC. And Fred being from Brazil, he doesn't know what the SEC is. You know, he doesn't know what the swamp is. And I'm like, man, this is our first visit. We're setting the bar high. I'll never forget. I said that before we stepped out of the car.
Heck, Mike, I didn't know. Until I went and experienced it.
Yeah, exactly, right? And imagine being from another country.
Yeah.
So, yeah, met the coach at the golf course there, and I'll never forget sitting in his office, and then we did the whole tour. He took us through the swamp, all the workout areas. We saw all the banners from when the basketball team won, and Tim Tebow statues. We went to the back kind of athletic room, and it's just, his eyes were as big as saucers, man. It's like, wow. And then he had other, obviously, good offers. But ultimately, he made his decision on Florida because of the coach, because of the facility, because of how impressed he was. And also the other players that were joining the team. I mean, that class is almost all graduating, a team that just won a national championship. So, yeah. And then as a player, man, he redshirted he started in the spring, his freshman year, so he redshirted that year, and then he didn't really play the next year, and then he kind of earned his spot on the team, and, you know, he realized how hard he had to work because of how tough it is. People don't realize, you know, there's 10 guys on the team, and you're trying to beat, you know, 5 of them, and doing that's not easy, especially as a freshman or a sophomore. And once he did that, he kind of solidified who he was for the Florida Gators, and then a couple of years ago, he almost won the Latin American Amateur. He had, you know, kind of a rough finish, and then that same summer he qualified for the U.S. Open, and that's when Fred kind of put himself on the map. He always was really good, and then he won the Florida State Amateur that same summer as well. So it's pretty awesome how much he's developed, because he was a really good junior, but people don't realize there's a lot of pretty good juniors. He was one of the pretty good ones. You know, the coach kind of saw that, and then he just works his butt off. But talk about a kid that loves the game of golf and wants to get really good at it, and he did it. And then, you know, myself and, you know, Matt just kind of showed him the ropes, and we did the best we could. You know, at that age, it's tough for some of those kids to be able to handle the nerves and really learn how to score, because a lot of them have talent, but they don't quite get it. But Fred just kind of, he understood that he could just kind of punch the ball around the course and shoot low scores if the short game was good, and the other kids were kind of just bombing it out there, couldn't really find it, and then couldn't really putt or chip their way around to shoot a low score. And Fred could do that, you know, at 15 once he realized, I just got to do this. So.
Well, and Mike, a couple of things you mentioned, you know, as I was listening to you talk, you know, when did you kind of realize that, you know, he was something special? I heard you say 2 things kind of over and over again. One was the love of the game, and then the other was how hard he was willing to work. Is that kind of what kind of you saw with him when he was young, that, okay, this he's got the it factors, and now we just got to work through this whole process? And, you know, because you see a lot of kids, you know, coming up, like you said, with talent, but to have both the understanding of how much work you've got to put in to continue to get better, but also the love of the game. I think it has to be founded off the love of the game. So there's kind of some of the big factors you saw with him at a young age that, okay, you knew if we take this and move it in the right direction, something special could happen.
100%, yeah. So what's unique about what I was doing back then, and I was talking to Matt Dijon about this just a couple weeks ago, not even, about the other group of kids that we had there. They were such good kids and such good players. They all pushed each other to get better. Like, that is so big. I think that's part of the reason why when you have a really good college team and good chemistry, you get better. But we had a group of other kids. We had a kid go the same graduation class graduate, go to Washington State. Another kid, graduate, go to VCU. Another girl, graduate, go to Michigan State. We're talking all in golf scholarships. And then just the other kids, even the kids that didn't go to big schools, they all just were like a big group. And the chemistry that they had, man, because they lived, slept, ate, golf. I mean, that's all they could do, you know? So it's kind of, they pushed each other to get better. But yeah, I'd say that the you know, as a 13 and 14-year-old, yeah, he's pretty good. You're shooting mid, you know, 70s. As a 13, 14-year-old, you're good. And then all of a sudden, you know, yeah, he shot 69. That's really good. And then the next event, wow, he shot under par again. You know, and then I told the UF coach this story. This is kind of a cool story. He called me on the phone. And when you're a college coach, you're trying to recruit not just a good player, but a good person for the team. Yeah. And when we talk about a person, Fred is one of the most genuine young man I've ever met in my life. He's just an awesome person. He's just a good kid, smart in the classroom, and that goes a long way. So, I mean, that's one of the things I tried to reiterate to the coach, because I'm like, you know, you want this type of person on your team, because I know what University of Florida requires to be a student athlete, and he met the criteria. But I told the coach this story. He had a one-shot lead going to the 36th hole of the Florida Junior Tour event. He hit his drive in the right center of the fairway, par 4. He had like 155, 160 yards to the green, but there's a tree in the right side of the fairway that blocked him out. And Fred took out his hybrid and hit like a bump and run, low chip pitch shot and ran it up on the middle of the green. And I sat there and I'm like, there are not many 15-year-olds that are going to hit a low bump and run chip shot with a hybrid from 150 yards and hit the middle of the green. And he two-putted to win the tournament. And the kid he beat is like the number 2 player currently for Auburn, Alex Vogelsong. So, like, and Fred shot like 67 that day, and Alex shot like 68. So it's just kind of like, I told the coach that story, and the coach brought that story up again at the visit. He's like, I remember you told me this story. That was pretty cool. So it's just like those little things you see. It's like, man, that guy, he has a golf IQ, you know, a little bit stronger than your average 15-year-old, you know. So it's just kind of, and then you just start seeing the scores you can shoot. Even his bad rounds are, you know, 1 under, even par, 1 over. It's like, ooh, man, that's solid. He doesn't have many blow-up rounds. So.
Well, I think that golf IQ you mentioned is probably better than 90% of the people out there playing golf, regardless of age. And sometimes that's, you know, you have the it factor, and that's just was such a cool story. And, you know, visualizing him out there, and, you know, kids, they want to go for it. They want to hit it over the trees. They want to hit a big old hook or a big old slice. But he did what it would take to preserve that one-stroke lead and minimize the error and give him the best opportunity. And that's a level of 100%. Maturity that, you know, like you mentioned, a college golf coach is certainly looking for.
Well, I'll never forget standing there watching. I'm like, I can't believe he just. I mean, he's like 10 feet too.
Yeah.
It was like
executed as well. Yeah.
Most kids trying to hit 9 or 8 over that tree, and you know, it's the last hole of the tournament. I mean, both these kids are way under par for the tournament. So yeah, just an awesome young man, and you know, let's continue to watch him grow after college, even in college. You know, he still comes down here. He, you know, trains primarily with Matt, and now, which I love to watch, because Matt, you know, I teach with Matt here, and Matt's my swing coach. So I mean, it's funny. I'm learning from Fred now. It's like, man, you know, I use Fred as a swing model, and I'm like, God, you know, I wish I could do that. So it's kind of full circle. A couple other cool stories too. Fred and I, we, you know, playing down here I play all the section events. Fred and I won the Pro Junior together his senior year. We shot like, I don't even know, 17 under or something crazy for 18 holes. And then Fred and I, last summer, we got to play the Pro Scratch together. We didn't win, but we had a great time. So I mean, fun being around him, watching him, you know, being able to play with him still, you know, at 22 years old. And, you know, looking back when I was playing with him when he was 12 years old. Now I'm watching the kid on TV win golf tournaments. And it's like, wow, this is pretty cool to see. So,
not many other sports you can say that kind of stuff with, that's for sure.
No, it's pretty special. So he'll actually be down here in a couple days. I was talking to Chris about this. He's kind of got an interesting couple decisions to make, but he made it through local qualifying a couple weeks ago, and he's got sectional qualifying. It's down here in Boynton Beach on Monday, so my guess is either here Friday or Saturday. I haven't talked to him yet today, but I know he's got to get a practice round in. But yeah, he's playing in that. He has a spot in the U.S. Open for winning the individual title, but he has to remain amateur. So he's playing in the sectional qualifying, because if he qualifies through sectional, he'll turn pro and take the sectional spot as a pro. But if he doesn't, he's going to play his last amateur event will be the U.S. Open. So it's like kind of confusing, like puzzle pieces, but
yeah,
kind of neat
based on what your exemption is for. Yeah, and I think Chris was mentioning too about the Masters next year. I guess the NCAA individual national champion gets an exemption in, but he'd have to play as an amateur. Kind of the same scenario.
Exactly. Yeah, they started doing that last year.
Caught between a rock and a hard place. He's caught between like heaven and heaven.
Yeah.
Which way do I go?
I know. Yeah, it's just a tough
what would you do, Mike?
-year-old to make. But
what would you do if you were in his shoes, man? That would.
I mean, I've talked about it with Matt, but I mean, he's got, for finishing second on the PGA Tour, university rankings, he's got a Korn Ferry Tour card. So it's like, you want to start your career? He's already graduated. He graduated last December. So, he's going to start his career. I think you got to turn pro. Obviously being able to play in the U.S. Open is good. He played last year, and it's awesome. Hopefully he makes it through and he can play as a pro. But his first professional event will be the week after. He's got 5 Korn Ferry Tour starts in a row right after the U.S. Open. So
just going.
But yeah, knowing his potential, that'd be something to kind of push yourself for. And Fred's very realistic. He knows he needs the time on the Korn Ferry Tour to get better at that level. And once he starts figuring it out and seeing what those guys do, because Korn Ferry Tour is no joke. Those guys they take it deep. So,
yeah,
I mean, you got to shoot 15 to 20 under to win most weeks. So, he's good enough to do it. It's just like college golf. You got to kind of figure it out a little bit, learn to calm yourself. So he'll need the Korn Ferry Tour experience to get on tour. And then I know his goal once he does get on tour to get that Masters invite. By either winning or getting his ranking high enough. So
yeah, I mean that
would be a tough decision, but I know the decision he's going to make. So
yeah, it's kind of setting yourself up, short term versus long term, and like you said, use that exemption that you've earned, get on that Korn Ferry Tour, and then start grinding away, and hopefully make it to the PGA Tour. And it sounds like he's well on the right direction. Mike, can we hold you over for one more break?
Sure.
I just got some more questions about junior golf and dedication and all that kind of stuff because, obviously you guys are doing it right over there. But I listened to a lot of the things you said and what it takes to get to the level of a Fred Biondi and beyond. So, but
100%.
We appreciate you joining us, and we'll have got a break here coming up in just a minute. You're listening to the Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida. We are currently joined by Mike Berger. He's a fellow PGA professional down there in South Florida, talking about one of his students that just won the NCAA individual national champion and the team championship for that University of Florida. Go Gators. A lot of Gator emojis were coming from Chris the last couple days. So
no. I'll say go Gators if Chris says go Bulldogs.
No. Go Gators.
See, there you go.
There we go.
It's coming up here pretty soon. But it is Thursday, so it is Kramer Day, and we are inside the Bill Kramer Chevrolet Buick GMC and Kramer Marine and Outdoor Studios. Don't forget, we've got 3 great local shows: the Coach James Hale Show from 7 to 9, the Inside Drive from 11 to 1, followed by David Hayes and the Afternoon Underdogs from 4 to 6 p.m. Don't forget, we're also the home of your Atlanta Braves here on ESPN Northwest Florida. The Atlanta Braves are sponsored locally by Bestway Portable Buildings, Dave & Buster's, PCB Hobby, and Gulf Coast Aquarium. I know they did get the dub yesterday afternoon over the A's.
Finally.
The woeful A's. They got the Braves number, which is very bizarre.
Yeah.
And then I think their next series gets kicked off tomorrow at home against the Phillies. Or maybe away.
I believe it's the Diamondbacks.
Okay. Well, Randy or whoever did this needs to fix it. So that is incorrect.
We update them. We'll get it for you.
That might have been. We'll get an updated one. It's not my job to know what the Braves are doing. It's really your job, Jay.
There you go, Jay. Slipping, man.
Yeah,
Don't make
Jay
me play the crickets.
Yes. But again, we are joined by Mike Berger. You're listening to the Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida, and we'll be right back.
ESPN Northwest Florida. We're taking the inside drive.
And I'm going to go back to this quote that he said, expectations connected to your realities. Understand what your reality is in the game you're playing, and then connect your expectations to that.
That's right.
Because getting upset for unrealistic expectations is just detrimental to your golf game.
Join Ryan Mulvey.
Thank you very little.
Middays 11 to 1 on ESPN Northwest Florida.
Good afternoon. This is Joanna on ESPN Northwest Florida with your weather forecast on this Thursday. A chance of thunderstorms and light showers the rest of the day with a gentle breeze coming out of the east-northeast around 11 miles per hour and temps near 79. We will have some clouds and a chance of thunderstorms tonight and be warm at 70. And mostly sunny tomorrow and a high 85. This forecast is sponsored by Mid-South Lumber, the best little lumber yard in Panama City. Thank you for tuning into ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
My friend and I are taking a trip to Mexico this year, but neither of us speak Spanish. So we downloaded Babbel and started learning Spanish fast.
Want to start getting conversational in another language in as little as 3 weeks? Babbel's quick 10-minute lessons were designed by language experts to be the most efficient and effective way to learn a new language.
¿Cómo te llamas?
¿Cómo te llamas?
Babbel, language for life. Celebrating 10 million subscriptions sold. Now try Babbel for free at Babbel.com. That's Babbel.com.
Game days are always better at Dave & Buster's. That's because more TV inches, more food and drinks, more space, and more fun make the game we all know and love more special. Nothing beats seeing your favorite team take the field on the two 12-foot big screens or 26 75-inch TVs. Throw in the arcade experience and you've got a winning atmosphere that no other sports bar can deliver. Follow the fun at Dave & Buster's Panama City Beach on Facebook and Instagram. Eat, drink, play, and watch sports at Dave & Buster's.
And now the Inside Drive with Ryan Mulvey.
We're going to have a talk.
Tell me what you know. Broadcasting from the Bill Kramer Chevrolet Buick GMC and Kramer Marine Outdoor Studios.
It's a frantic noise.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
And welcome back. You're listening to Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida. Thursday, Kramer Day, and it's a family Kramer Day. We've got Mike Berger, Chris's brother-in-law, on the line with us here inside the studios, talking about Fred Biondi, college golf, junior golf, all that kind of stuff. Jay, you work with a lot of kids in this area, but one of the things I kind of really picked up on is, excuse me, we've talked about it. At your home course, you got to be able to go out there and shoot ridiculously low numbers at your home course, and then you kind of progress and all that, because even Mike said it. There's when you keep moving up the level, you're not the best anymore, and if you're the best locally, you're probably not the best anymore. But the dedication that it takes to move to the next level, and Mike, you were talking about it, you kind of guys were a turnkey operation with education, recruiting, dedicating that time to golf. When somebody has kind of that it factor at a young age and know that they might be able to make a career out of this, which is, in my opinion, golf is one of the hardest sports to make it to the top level in the pros, just because of the quantity of people that are all competing for those spots versus a football or whatever it may be, where you've got 54 people on the roster. Obviously, they're playing different positions, but golf is just so hard. So making that decision, you mentioned when he turned 14, he made the decision, okay, I'm going to dedicate my next 4 years of my life to golf and what it's going to take to get to that next level. That's the kind of commitment it takes. If you're a young person, you're kind of, I don't want to, this is probably the wrong term, sacrificing your teenage years, but when you have that kind of talent, and you mentioned the love and passion for the game, it seems like kind of a no-brainer. But just talk a little bit about how y'all's process worked with that, and if there's any parents listening and have a junior golfer that's really, really good and want to know kind of what that next step would be if they think they've got that it factor to move on to the next level.
Yeah, no, 100%. I'd say the biggest thing is find a really good coach that you like. You got to have good chemistry. I'd say that's one thing Matt and I have always done. The kids buy in. They believe in you, and they're very coachable once that happens. So, I mean, that's the most important foundation there. And then just the kind of curriculum we put them through, man, we do have a lot of fun. You know what I mean? My opinion, if you're a coach, part of the reason I like JC and Dudley is they're players. Like, I don't think people realize how good J.C. Deacon as a golfer is. He's still very good. I mean, he's won the Florida Open a couple times, and that's the only tournament he plays all year. I think he Mondayed for the RBC 3 or 4 years ago. I mean, that's ridiculous. He doesn't play golf, and he still has it. You know, Dudley won a couple times on tour. So me still playing a lot of golf and like competing, like I love playing competitions against my students, whether it's a putting game, a chipping game, going on the course. Like, looking back, like, one of my kind of mentors was Jim Herman. He still plays on the PGA Tour. Like, when I was in high school, man, I wanted to beat him. Like, I didn't care how good he would always beat me, but it's like, man, I want to beat this guy. So I think one of the things is, you know, be around, have somebody around your kids that want them to get better, because, you know, they need to try to at least beat the coach type situation. So that's one of the things that I really like. But yeah, and then the other thing is, the biggest thing that I've got better at as a coach and as a player too is just understanding there's going to be downs. You know what I mean? You're going to have some good tournaments, and you're going to play bad in a couple tournaments. And that's just golf. Like, you know, if you have a bad stretch, like, you're going to get out of it. Don't go looking for another answer. And, oh, this isn't working anymore. It's like, well, that's just golf. So, you know, be realistic with your expectations. You know what I mean? At that age, you know, you're still growing. You're still mentally not prepared to handle pressure in bigger events yet until you've, you know, won. So, you know, kind of build a good foundation around you who you can trust and you like, and don't forget to have fun. But then also just understand that, you know, it's not easy, and it's going to constantly be a battle your entire golf career. You know, even when you're on top. I mean, I don't know if you guys watched the Full Swing series. I mean, you know, if you watched Koepka, I mean, it looked like he almost had a breakdown during that. And, you know, fast forward to now, and he just won the PGA. He looked better than ever. He should have won the Masters, too, almost. So, you know, even guys at the top level struggle. So if you can accept that at a younger age, you know what I mean? So many kids we teach, they expect perfection, and they want to hit every shot good, or their goals are, I want to hit every fairway, every green today, and shoot 68. It's like, well, those are bad goals. You know, so that's not going to happen. I don't care how good you are.
Yeah.
So
perfection is not.
But I mean, yeah, it's little things like that. But yeah, I mean, some parents get it. Some people struggle getting it. But you know, if you can kind of start doing these little pieces right. You know what I mean? It makes a world of difference. You know, just kind of accepting the bad with the good, and kind of go from there. But you know, kind of play a lot of golf, play a lot of, you know, the one thing that I might get in trouble for saying this, but I always play most of my students for money. You know what I mean? Like, that's how I learned. I grew up playing skins games. I grew up playing all the pros at my club for money. I was 15, 16. I was older than really young, but even for our young kids that we teach, I'll play them for $1 or a drink in the clubhouse. Something to make you nervous and make you want to beat the other person. There's something on the line. You know, if there's nothing on the line, it's like, well, I'm not going to try as hard as I would. If, you know, bragging rights is good, but I want to get in your wallet if I can. I remember as a young kid, if I got in the pro's wallet or another kid's wallet, it made me feel pretty good. And before you know, you got confidence, and you know, and you start playing well in tournaments. So I mean, non you know, tournament, you know, practice, you can kind of make it a little bit more serious and fun, and get a lot out of it. So
hey, Mike, I'll admit, Christopher Sawyer and Carter have gotten in my wallet more than I've gotten in theirs.
And that's going to make them want to come back.
And they do. And Jay.
Well, that's what makes them remember it, you know? That's what makes them want to do it again, you know? So, and you kind of build that mentality, and, you know, before you know it, you kind of learn to compete. And if you compete well, you get rewarded. So that's kind of where I stand on it.
Yeah. Hey, Mike, so the way you describe Biondi is like he moves over to the States when he's 14. And, you know, when I think of successful people, I think of people that don't have plan Bs. You know, like they're going to stick to plan A.
Burn the ships.
No sleep till Brooklyn kind of, you know, type personality. Don't you feel like some of these international guys that are coming over to the States, don't you think they have that plan A? Like, this is going to work, and there's no plan B. And do you feel like Biondi's kind of got that same sense?
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he had such a good support system in his parents. They just backed him 100% because this is what he wanted to do. And, you know, even his you know, grandpa was the golfer of the family, and you know, they kind of knew. It's like, yeah, if he really puts his mind to it, he's going to do it. And, you could always kind of tell. You keep getting a little bit better, and it's like, it's going to happen. It's going to happen.
But
so,
can you think back of a time a few years ago where maybe he was kind of second? Was he ever second? Did he ever get to a low point where he's like, man, should I, move back to Brazil? Or, everybody hits their low points. I'm sure,
For sure. I don't know if it ever got to that. I don't think it would ever, him going back. Because they would get to go home on summer breaks, and him and his family were good about doing, group vacations during our winter break, so you got to see him enough. There's times where, everybody struggles with the game, and, you're down. Fred was very competitive. That's what I loved about him. And I remember there's times where I'd beat him, and, I'm not going to say he was on the verge of tears. He might make fun of me for saying, but it's like, you could tell, man, it pissed him off. And I loved it, yeah. But yeah, if you beat him, you could tell he was fired up about it, or after a bad round, you could tell. He held that chip on his shoulder. So if anything, I think it helped him even get better. It's like, man, that's not fun. What do I need to do? How do I work harder? So, yeah. And that's what he did as a young kid. It's like, God, we just worked and practiced and played, but I think that's what was so good about University of Florida. All those guys, they all wanted it, and they all. It was just like junior golf days. They all just pushed each other, and there they are. So, but yeah, I don't think I think there's times where we all have our lows. I don't think it was ever, hey, I'm getting out of here. It's not working. Right. I don't think he was ever that low, but I think he probably got to a point to where, we all kind of question ourselves a little bit, like, oh, am I good enough? But once he started hoisting a lot of trophies, because he had a ridiculous 15. When he turned 15, it was pretty scary how many tournaments he won. Yeah. And the other kids he was playing against, they were really good players. So I think that year kind of catapulted in, hey, I can do this. And it made the 16 and 17-year-old ages a little bit easier, because he kind of proved himself. Once you do that, you can do it again.
If it hasn't happened, it will. Yeah. There will be a low.
Yeah, absolutely.
For sure.
It's true with everybody and everything. It will happen. Know that it will. And prepare yourself for it.
Yeah.
One thing I heard you say.
I definitely think that happened at Florida, maybe his sophomore year. Right? He didn't, I didn't expect to make the team major right away, but, he was close. He was definitely good enough to play, I think, but he didn't quite play well enough to qualify. So, the coach kind of said, hey, step up, let's start playing. And I think he just got a lot better mentally too. He just got mentally tough and, learned to slow down a little bit. I know he works with a mental coach and got better at breathing. It was fun watching him on TV, man. He usually walks really quick, and he just gets the ball fast and pulls the trigger. That walk down 18 final round of the stroke play, and he just took his time and took a deep breath and pulled the trigger and hit good golf shots. So you can tell that part's gotten a lot better. So.
That's good.
Just like that
pretty
hybrid
cool.
Under the tree.
That's right.
Yeah.
One of the things I heard you say, Mike, that would apply to most golfers is your golf game is going to be at points where it's not good. You're searching, you're not making good swings, you don't feel good about it, but you don't just dump and try to completely do something different. You keep grinding, you keep doing what you're working at. And I think a lot of people, especially just on a recreational side of golf, that's a great thing. And we've talked before with some swing coaches or mental coaches that we've had on the show about connecting your expectations to reality. And I think knowing 100%. And understanding that when you're playing golf, there's going to be times where you're not hitting it well, you're not putting it well, but you just got to grind through that, knowing that coming back on the other side of that, your game will be where it needs to be. And you see so many people just drop everything and say, I got to buy a new driver, I got to completely change my swing, whatever it may be. But I thought that was a great point. Need a new coach. golfwithjay.com. But and it's just one of those things, just like life. Sometimes everything's going to be going wrong for you, but you got to keep your head down and grind, and golf is so much like that. So I just thought that was a really awesome point.
Think about that in the investment world. You hear Warren Buffett say his favorite holding period is forever.
Yep.
Yeah. And not all of his companies were knocking it out of the park all the time. Some of them were way down. Yeah. But dollar cost averaging over time, you're going to be up.
That's right.
Yeah, I agree. Same thing with your golf game. You just got to keep at it.
Invest.
Yeah.
But another thing I kind of heard you on repeat a little bit was, especially talking about Fred specifically and the other players and the bonds and all. It's just competition. It's constant competition. Whether you're working on chipping, you're doing a competition game, trying to score points, or going against somebody. It's always competition, because if you're always practicing in competition settings, when you're on the big stage in that competition, it's just like everything else that you've been doing.
100%.
Yeah, I mean, Jay, you do a great job with that.
Well, I mean, we've got a junior camp going on right now. It's 90% competition based, and it's just. I think we spent 5 minutes this morning talking about a fundamental with putting and and all that, and then we broke out into groups and just compete, and I think that's how you get better. Is you just. You find the 4 or 5, and that's what I'm trying to do with my golf camps, is connect these kids so that they can build relationships with each other and play golf, as teenagers in high school, and that way that relationship isn't formed in high school, it's formed at the 8, 9, 10, 11-year-old.
Next thing you know, they're sitting around the school table forming the Bay Point Bash.
There you go. That's
the 4-on-4 scramble.
When are we getting T-shirts for the Bay Point Bash? I want some swag. I need some swag for this. Next time I'm going to be the announcer for that one. And we're going to stream it live on Facebook.
Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, he's approaching the tee.
Yes.
From the Cove.
Starting pitcher for the...
No, but it is. It's all team chemistry. I mean, up in Georgia, Northgate High School finished second runner-up in 5A state championship in Georgia, and I saw those kids after Hurricane Michael. I went up and developed relationships with these kids that were in 8th, 9th grade at the time. Well, now they just graduated, and I saw that chemistry back in 9th grade. I saw it, and they all... they all hang out together at the house on Tuesday nights, and they play basketball together. They play golf together.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, fast forward to just last week, they did finish runner-up. They should have been the state champion, but it's just a chemistry. You see it on their Instagram reels. They're always hanging out together. So, anyways, that's my
Well, and you saw it in almost every interview that they did in the national championship matches, not just the championship match, but all the matches leading up. You heard them talking about the person they were playing against, and they're like, I grew up playing junior golf against him. I know him well. We've had some great matches, and it's not just the bonds and the camaraderie you see on the individual teams. It's across golf, because at that level of golf, you're playing in the state champion, the state amateurs. You're playing in these AJGA events, the Florida Junior, the Hurricane Junior. It's a lot of the same kids playing in the same events, and it's cool to kind of see them continue to go up amongst the ranks as they eventually, hopefully, make it onto whatever tour they're trying to make it onto.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
It's
pretty neat. They've all crossed paths before at that level, just because they all play those higher end tournaments, even those amateur tournaments. As juniors, you get invites to play in, so it's pretty cool. Like Jordan Spieth and Justin Thomas played so many AJGAs and U.S. juniors against each other, and they're still good friends, and now they're doing it together on tour. So
just shows you the level of golf that you need to be playing at a young age to make it up to there.
Yeah.
So the big question is, what do you have to do with your brother's swing here to get him to that level that we got to make him
we got a
be out there?
40-year-old.
Yes. It's the year of 40. I mean, probably stop belly flopping on cruise ships.
That
might help with the swing. Yes. Because I mean, these competitions are going to be getting tougher and tougher with his boys, so he needs to be winning some of these as well. So I've seen him swing. He's got a good move, and I'm sure it's a work in progress. That's for sure.
Yeah, we got it. He's a little steep, a little cupped, a little cross. Other than that,
it's fine.
Yeah.
Take 10 days off and quit.
Out of the limber back department.
Hey, listen. Last time I worked with Jay, it was soften your hands, don't grip it so hard.
Yeah.
Change where your backswing where it's going instead of straight up.
You got to put that thumb in the ear. That was Jay's tip of the week.
Couple of those tips like that have helped. I mean, I still have my snowmen out there. But
we all.
Yeah.
That's the beautiful thing about golf. It's not just your golf swing and how well you hit the ball. It's all the other things that happen while you're out there.
That's right.
And, you're a little bit older now, so we might want to revisit the particular shafts you have in your irons. That swing speed may not be quite as fast, and, graphite's come a long
revisit
way.
A couple shafts.
Hey, it's swing speed. It's all about swing speed. We might go out with Pony by Genuine after all this conversation. But Mike, we got a break coming up. We very much appreciate you joining us and talking about Fred and all the success that you helped him be a part of. And of course, you're a great golfer yourself, making it to the PGA Professional Championship. And we talk to Chris all the time about how awesome an experience that was for him. So I know he really enjoyed that, and it was cool to see you out there competing.
We're getting ready for next year, Mike.
Yes.
It was great. Yeah, we'll see. We got that section championship's not till September, but yeah, we'll see. I got a few between now and then. We'll see.
There you go. Mike, thank you very much for your time. We appreciate you jumping on the line with us.
Thanks, Mike.
Take care, Mike.
Yeah.
Thank you guys. See ya.
It is Thursday. It is Kramer Day, and we are inside the Bill Kramer Chevrolet Buick GMC and Kramer Marine and Outdoor Studios. You're listening to the Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida.
ESPN Northwest Florida. The afternoon underdog.
People want to talk about Michael Jordan and how, the competition that Michael Jordan in his era was. Look at the competition that Victor Wembanyama is facing over there. You got guys my size trying to guard him. It's not going to work out.
Hey, don't disrespect yourself.
I'm going to I'll be honest.
4 to 6 weekdays. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Are you tired of hearing 2 weeks when you call to get your boat worked on? Hey folks, it's Chris Kramer with Kramer Marine and Outdoor, and we'll get you in and back out on the water as quick as possible. We're a full-line Yamaha outboard dealer and Suzuki outboard dealer, and we have master-trained certified mechanics on site. So if it's just an annual service, electronics install, trolling motor install, or all the way up to a full repower, we can take care of you. So stop by and see us in the corner of Frankfurt and 23rd next to Bill Kramer GM, or call us at 850-851-0453.
It's time for the 2023 Southern Lights Talent Event. We're looking for local artists, including singers, musicians, comedians, any family-friendly talent that wants to take their talent to the next level. $10,000 in cash, recording deals, Chipola scholarships, video specials, all going to talented people from all over the tri-state area. We're also looking for sponsors, people and businesses that want to support local artists and make an impact on their community. Auditions are going on right now, so check us out today at southernlights.cc.
Chuck was terrible at fishing. He spent many frustrating hours attempting to get results he saw from internet videos, aggravating trial and error fishing trips, and misguided advice from well-intended friends. Chuck is happy now with his newfound success after he visited Bay Breeze Bait and Tackle, where we keep fishing fun, simple, and successful. See us soon at Bay Breeze Bait and Tackle, located directly off Highway 98 on the west end of Panama City Beach.
Suffer from political talk radio fatigue?
We know that under the 99% rate, the U.S.
Tune into the most fun and exciting new radio show on the Gulf Coast. It's The Inside Drive with Ryan Mulvey. From the Bill Kramer Chevrolet Buick GMC and Kramer Marine Outdoor Studios on ESPN Northwest Florida.
And welcome back. You're listening to the Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida. Another fun show, Kramer Day. Had some great insight conversation there from Mike Berger, PGA professional down there in the South Florida section. Really cool to hear all his time and his work with our NCAA Individual National Championship. Jay, we wear headsets every day. I'm not sure where you're struggling with this.
I'm so used to wireless though, Ryan.
We haven't had wireless since we've been doing this, and we're literally a month into the show today. We started May 1st. Today is June 1st. It's the first of the month. All that good stuff going on, but love to hear the insight from that. And joined us on the line, speaking of insight, Mr. Alan Sandage with the NBA Finals getting kicked off tonight. I was going to talk a little bit about that in this segment. So, Alan, your timing is perfect. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great, man. I got the Phillies money line. They're up 2-0. Check back in like 3 innings. I'll be upset.
There you go. There you go. And what about that? I think is Tennessee still winning against Alabama in the softball World Series? I know it was 6-2 just a minute ago. I had it up, but I think I closed it.
Yeah, I was going to say I checked, and it was 6-2 last I checked, but I hadn't looked back
Looks like it's still 6-2 in the bottom of the third there. So, oh, shoot. Just kidding. It is 10-2 in the bottom of the fourth. So Tennessee off to a hot start against the Alabama Crimson Tide in the bottom of the fourth. Again, you can watch that on It's double elimination, though. So, you can lose one and still come back and win it. Your odds go way down. But, that Tennessee-Alabama rivalry runs deep all the way into college softball. Yeah. But, Alan, what you thinking about tonight? We had Steve Alexander on the line yesterday breaking down the NBA Finals. He texted me a few more times yesterday afternoon as well. He's amped up about potentially moving down here. So nice. I think yesterday his interview on the show sold him on Panama City Beach.
Yeah, I mean, y'all pulled out all the stops, man, and then Jay was telling about all the ladies down there. So it was like, why not?
Certain demographics, Alan. Certain demographics.
I'm just messing with you, Jay. Every time I listen to the show, you guys start out and it's like, yeah, we're waiting on Jay. I'm like, man, this guy's got a lot of heart in him, man. He don't show up to practice or nothing. Just do what he wants.
Practice? Hey, if you do get a golf lesson with me, I promise you I will be on time. It's just
unless it's at 1 o'clock at Bay Point.
Right.
Then just, warm up for 10 minutes.
Right.
I'll be there.
Right. Well, if you do a lesson with me, I promise I'll probably be late, man. I'm awful at it.
I got you.
But yeah, I listened to him yesterday. I mean, he's saying what everybody else is saying too. Like, honestly, on paper, there's literally no chance that the Heat win this series. But as I was saying before, and I've said to people again, like, you really can't count the team out. I mean, every time they've been counted out, they've done the improbable. But I think strategically, I know it's not the most popular method, but I really think you need to make Jokic primary, just score. Like, just take him out of facilitating some kind of way. I think people get too caught up on keeping him from scoring, and what he's really doing and hurting people is facilitating and getting that offense moving, because Jamal Murray doesn't really have to be a point guard, and everybody else is kind of getting to their spot to get their shots off, and Jokic is the one that passes the ball and facilitates them getting rhythm shots, backdoor cuts, and so forth. So I feel like you just have to figure out a way to make him just a scorer.
Well, and can Miami do that? Who?
No, honestly, they can't, because Bam Adebayo is god-awful, man. I hate to say it. But, yeah, dude sucks, man. I don't want to sound like Stephen A., but how Stephen A. feels about Julius Randle is how I feel about Bam.
Well, and do you think, obviously Tyler Hero potentially scheduled to come back in Game 3 with the hand injury, I guess probably depending on how the first two games go in Denver, and if he's available, if they're down 2-0 leaving Denver, do you obviously bring him in to try to make a change, or somehow maybe you split the games out there in Denver? Do you bring him in, or do you not want to mess that kind of stuff up? What's your thoughts on that?
Man, I'm all hands on deck, man. I think the window Miami's got going right now is very fortunate, because they're not very talented, and for them to be a couple games out of the finals last year, back to the finals this year. They were in the finals in the bubble, which was 2-3 years ago. So they've had 3 out of the last 4 years. They've been in contention with a roster that's just not really good. So if Hero can go, everybody's on deck, man. Bring back Mike Miller if you can.
There you go. And like Steve was saying yesterday, I think Coach Spo has a lot to do with that in what they've been doing, and obviously Pat Riley. Crazy stat he was mentioning yesterday: 25% of I think he said 25% of the NBA championships, Pat Riley was involved somehow. That is an unbelievable stat.
Oh, yeah.
So, go ahead.
I was going to say, people should thank Michael Jordan, because it'd probably be a significantly higher if it wasn't for him.
Yeah, that is true. And Phil Jackson, yep.
Is there a Jokic coming in as well? Jokic and a Jokic? Have you heard that? There is.
I call them
crickets. Where are the crickets, David?
Oh.
I'm just kidding now. I'm just kidding.
I was about to be like, I call them Jokic. I don't know how they pronounce it.
Yeah. No, what's up with this Jokic?
It's the same person, just like the clams are what make the clam chowder.
So you know what's funny about him? I think he was a second-round pick. When the Nuggets got him, they actually got the big man from the Blazers as well. His name is Nurkic. So it was Nurkic and Jokic on the same team. And Jokic used to be so out of shape, man. Like, he would play in 3-4 minute spurts, and he literally would need a ventilator. Like, he was just so out of shape. And it came to a head because they had to pay one of the big men, and they picked Jokic because of his scoring ability. I don't think they ever foresaw him as the facilitator that he is, but Nurkic ended up getting hurt. He's an afterthought, and Jokic is a 2-time MVP and leading the Nuggets to their first finals ever. So it's one of those crazy things. Just like another fun fact that people don't know, in the first 18 games of the Miami Big Three, LeBron James went to Pat Riley and told him that he wanted Spoelstra fired, and Pat Riley told him kindly to go F himself. and that is why Spoelstra's still at that job, because he wanted him out.
Man, that I had no idea about that. That's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
All right, jumping into the game tonight, I was reading some of the articles that Steve had put out, a couple best bets, and being the gambling degenerate that you are, I'm going to get your thoughts on these. So the first one he had was Caleb Martin over 16.5 points. Basically, the premise on that, if the Heat are going to try to hang with the Nuggets and somehow win a game, he's going to have to really have a big role in this to take a little bit of pressure off Jimmy Butler. And Martin was averaging, I think, 19.3 points per game against the Celtics, so pretty solid bet there, you would think. What do you think about that, Alan?
Yeah, man, the Nuggets perimeter defense ain't all that. So if you're a willing shooter, you should easily hit that.
And then the other one he had was Michael Porter Jr. over 15.5 points. Just because the attention that Jokic and Murray are going to have to get in order for a little bit of containment to happen from the Heat. So maybe a good parlay there for those two, both with the overs.
I would. The only issue with Porter is his mental, because I kid you not, man. I don't know if a lot of people remember him when he was at Missouri, but he is the scariest person on that roster, man. Michael Porter is such a pure shooter and scorer. He could go for 25-30 on a bad shooting night if he was willing to put the shots up.
Yeah, and he may be getting a lot of those shots just given what Miami's going to have to do. All right, I'll put you on the spot. What if Miami, obviously on paper, they don't seem to stand a chance, but what does Miami have to do to somehow, not even just win the series, but go to Denver and maybe steal one of those two games, then come back to Miami and make some stuff happen?
They've got to continue to play with the hunger that they had against the Celtics, against the Bucks. This attitude of one game at a time, because they can't look ahead. Every game has to be Game 7, and I know that can get tiring, but they just got to trust in each other as a team, and it has to be a commitment to playing defense, because this team moves, which they did not see with the Bucks, and they did not see with the Celtics. Like, the Bucks and Celtics do a whole lot of standing around on offense, and that's why they're easier assignments. But Jamal Murray's not going to stand around. Porter's not going to stand around. Gordon's not going to stand around. They're all capable of being a centerpiece of a play, which they didn't see that in the first two series. So everybody has to be on the same page and has to have the same amount of effort on defense that they put in on offense.
Yeah, I mean, defense is going to be, and you nailed that. I mean, you could see it, especially in the Eastern Conference Finals. Nuggets are going to be moving the ball quick. They're going to get set up, move the ball around on offense, and Miami's arguably been playing some of the better defense this postseason. But everybody's counting them out. The odds makers are counting them out. But sometimes, if you just wanted a little more, sometimes it plays a factor. You got guys out there that are obviously ballers, and I'm just hoping it's a good series and not another sweep or lopsided, because we've had a lot of lopsidedness in the last couple series, especially with both NHL and NBA.
Yeah, and I'll tell people for real, 98% of defense in the NBA really is effort.
Yeah.
Alan, give me that score for tonight, man. What you think?
I'm going to go with the over, because I don't think the Heat. I think the Heat know they're not efficient enough to slow the game down, and still beat the Nuggets. So I think they're just going to let it all hang, man.
You think it 125, 118?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah,
all right.
Let it all.
Who you picking, Jay?
I typically go underdogs, but I'm gonna stick with the Nuggets, man. I'm going Nuggets.
Yeah, your whole thing on this show is underdogs, and then you're gonna abandon the Heat in Game 1 in Denver.
The Heat are 3-1 to win, man. Look, even if I think the Nuggets are going to win at 3-1, I'm putting at least 50 on it, man. I got something for it. Come on.
Absolutely. I mean, you don't get those kind of odds in an NBA Finals series very often. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Hey, look, Jay. When you're used to just firing from the hip, and then you finally meet your match and blink, it's never the same, man. You got the yips.
Got the yips. And,
yips. How far is my putt, man? Was it we talking 2-foot putts? Or are we talking?
This was a 60-footer for sure.
Tough to have the yips on a 60-footer. That's for sure. I mean, I guess you could.
Hey, that's being good, man. If you're yipping from 60 feet, absolutely.
Yikes! You need to go visit golfwithjay.com and book your lesson. That's for sure.
Yeah, that's right.
Alan, anything else you got for us before we got to hit the end of the show today?
Yeah, man. Take a good look at the Memorial, man. There's some interest at the top of the board. If anybody's in the live betting, you might find some value there. And I ended up settling for Adam Hadwin.
Good choice.
And, Sepp Straka as my prop.
Sepp, my boy, Georgia.
Yeah, I know. I'm for Sepp. I get him every week. But the curse of Aaron Rye continues. I picked him on the show, and he's over par. So there you go.
Hey, but Adam Hadwin there, he's shot a nice little 3 under par 69 to the morning wave, and he's at plus 6,600. It looks like now. So not bad odds there to win with a good start to his tournament. Those live golf odds, we don't talk about that too often. Those are you could find some good value in there. That's for sure. That is for sure. Yeah, Matt Wallace, Danny Willett at the top. He's plus 120 or plus 12,500 right now to win, and he's currently tied for second. So
wow,
pretty good stuff. Alan, we always appreciate you calling in, and we look forward to hopefully maybe talking to you tomorrow, and you don't have to huddle down in a bunker at your job.
Oh no, I'll be in a bunker again tomorrow, but I'll still find a way.
Yeah, sounds good. We appreciate that determination.
Yeah, man.
Just like in college golf, you have to have that determination. That's for sure.
That's right.
Thank you, Alan. Enjoy the game tonight.
Take care.
AJ. End of the show, just like that. You got to get back out on the lesson. You got a 1 o'clock lesson?
2 o'clock.
2 o'clock.
Yeah,
you got a little bit of a buffer today. Look at you.
Yeah.
I don't know what you're going to do with that time. You've been. We appreciate you coming into the show.
Food.
Food. There you go. Nourishment. I know you've got a lot going on, but great show today. Lots of good insight. A lot of golf centric stuff. Tomorrow it's Fun Friday, so we're going to have all sorts of stuff on the table tomorrow. So maybe you'll make it here. Right? Don't tell me you're not going to be here.
I've got a pizza party at noon.
He's got a pizza party at noon.
Yeah,
that's lame. Well, you're going to have to find
here.
replacement then. Yeah, bring all the kids in the studio. We got to go. You've been listening to the Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida.
ESPN Northwest Florida. We're taking the Inside Drive.
You see a lot of athletes do that too, which is awesome. They go back, they finish their college, they get going in the NFL or any other